Hello, thank you for joining us today for the AWWA webinar on field operations, moving from paper to digital. I'm Alex Gerling, a reuse engineer here at the American Waterworks Association. I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. Here are some tips to enhance your webinar experience. We recommend you close your email, your instant messengers, and any other programs not currently in use as they may interfere with the smooth reception of the webinar, causing slide buffering and poor sound quality. Technical assistance can be found at the GoToWebinar technical support page at the link listed in your handouts and on the slide shown. As soon as you close the GoToWebinar screen to leave the webinar, a window will open with a survey questionnaire. We ask that you all take a few minutes to answer the survey questions. Your feedback is important to us and helps us improve webinar programming. We encourage group participants to pick one person to enter collective responses to the survey and submit them to us. Before we hear from our speakers, I need to inform you that the mention of specific products or services in this webinar does not represent AWWA endorsement. AWWA does not endorse or approve products or services. I am pleased to introduce our distinguished panel of experts for today's program. Brandon Keller, Dallas Mayo, Brett Angel, and TJ Hone. In this webinar, you will learn how organizations have improved field operations by transitioning from paper-based workflows to digital workflows, in each case improving efficiency and saving time and money. The key to digital workflows is mobile. Enabling field workers with mobile application improves efficiency in many ways. It allows field crews to easily locate assets, provides easy, quick access to system information, reducing the number of trips back to the office, saving on fuel and labor, enables field data collection, eliminating paper forms and manual data entry, and provides real-time information. Our panel will be happy to answer your questions. Feel free to submit questions at any time throughout this broadcast by using the question pane at the lower right of your screen. Please include your name into the name of the panelist to whom your question should be directed. Let's begin. Our first presenters are Brandon Keller and Dallas Mayo. Brandon is a senior GIS analyst for Henry County Water Authority. Dallas is the valve maintenance foreman at Henry County Water Authority. They will be covering valve exercising. Take it away.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to be going over valve maintenance going digital. I am Brandon Keller. I'm a senior GIS analyst. I've been with the Water Authority for 4.5 years.
And I'm Dallas Mayo. I'm the valve maintenance foreman, and I've been with Henry County Water for 16 years.
And so the photo on the bottom left, that's going to be our administration building located kind of central to the county. And then on the bottom right, that's going to be our Tussahaw water treatment plant, and that's going to be located on the south end of the county. And so kind of show you where we're at. Henry County, we're located about 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, kind of to the southeast. Interstate 75 runs right through the middle of us, and due to that, we're very attractive to large warehousing and transit due to the close proximity to the Atlanta and Atlanta airport. All right, so some of our system features. We serve 324 square miles. We have 60,000 metered customers, actually a little bit over that now, 1,330 miles of water main, 12 water storage tanks, over 29.4 million gallons of storage capacity, and over 23,000 water valves. We're considered a relatively young system. Our first piece of pipe was laid in the 1960s, and compared to other systems, especially like Atlanta, they're over 100 years old. So we're definitely a young system. But due to the over 23,000 valves is kind of why we chose the valve maintenance as one of our going to digital programs. And so we'll start with a quote from Dallas. He's our valve maintenance foreman, and he was crucial to making this solution a success. And so he said, the new mobile process for valve maintenance is 100% better. Takes less time having the map in the field, so you don't have to keep going back to the office. And so Dallas made that quote early on, and so that initial feedback was great and helped keep all the teams together and keep this solution a success. So the reason we chose valve maintenance is before we even went with the ESRI valve maintenance deployment, we didn't even have ESRI. We had an existing GIS solution, but we didn't really have much mobile, no mobile deployments. And so they requested help. They said that we have problems. We know we have an inefficient solution. What can GIS do? And so we met with them. We confirmed their workflow was inefficient. Went over the old process. And at that time, we were looking at ESRI, and we saw some of their existing solutions. And we found the valve exercising solution. All those elements started coming together, kind of like a perfect storm. Here is our timeline that kind of shows the transition. So in November of 2016, we converted our data from the old platform to ESRI. We did adopt the LGIM to standardize our data. In March, we deployed the valve maintenance mobile solution, and that also launched our web services. In April, we were able to import all the old maintenance records from the valve maintenance, kind of brought in that historical records, helped us show areas that had not been exercised. In May, we deployed the valve maintenance dashboard, kind of help the crews on their daily tasks, see where they've been and where to go. We'll go over that later. And then in October, we have completed over 7,500, and it's just quite an accomplishment. All those 7,500 have been done without paper. And then in March of 2019, we expect all valves to have been exercised. And we started the valve maintenance program about 9 years ago. And so quite excited to be able to complete one run to the whole system. All right, so in order to show, instead of showing the new, let's go to the old. You can kind of see what the old staff had to deal with. There's an old photo right there of a yellowed plan, kind of shows you what we have to deal with. Paper is not always the best for a long-term solution. I'm gonna pass it off to Dallas, and he's gonna go over that old workflow.
Yes, here at the bottom left is our old mapping system with CAD. It shows the yellow highlighted lines, which indicated to us that showed where our system has been completed, and we would go there and look for roads that were not done, that would not be in yellow. So at the top hand of the screen, you'd see our old work order form, which would have to write down our subdivision names and or streets where we did our job that day, the date, how many we done on that date, and as well as the technicians, the address, what size line it was, the gate, valve, fire hydrant valves, how it opened, how we found it and left it. And a previous system was the valve ID, which will come later in this system as well for ESRI. And at the bottom, you see the valve maintenance form, which this is what we used in the afternoons when we would have to come in an hour and a half to 2 hours early just to input this into our system. And we would be going through the same in the afternoons as we were doing in the field. And it was just a time-consuming process. And this is the reason we come to GIS to ask for their help for us to get more out of our days. And it's just helped us out tremendously with this to get our jobs completed. And I'll pass it back to Brandon to go forward.
All right, thanks, Dallas. All right, so here's our process to go mobile. We reviewed the existing forms and workflows. We decided what information was needed on the old forms. Some information that was on the paper we didn't really need; they weren't being filled out. So we streamlined the forms and what needs to be included in the new process. We went to the ESRI Water Solutions site and downloaded the valve exercising solution. We made some minor changes, mainly like symbology, and there were some additional attributes we added that specific to our system and what we wanted to keep. Then from there, we deployed the web services and deployed it to offline tablets. And so we picked a Nexus 7 tablet. It's a 7-inch tablet, pretty inexpensive device, Wi-Fi only. We ran it as a test program at first, and for the first month or so, we maintained the old process. So they were actually doing double duty. And a couple of weeks in, I had asked Dallas to, hey, bring the tablet in. I need to do some updates and checks. And he basically said no. and when he said that, is he was really liking that process. It was almost an instant success. He definitely saw the need, and the solution that provided was almost instant. So I'm gonna show you right here a view of the tablet screen. So we're going to open Collector. We've got two maps here. We support an online and an offline workflow. The offline, you've got to sync multiple times a day to grab the new symbology of what's been mapped. The online map right here is if you have a cellular connection in the field. And then that's what I'm going to show you right here. So we're going to zoom in right here near the office. We got a couple valves out here. And so the red symbology is basically a valve that needs inspection, okay? And so once that valve is selected, you're able to pull up the attributes on that valve. You can see details like the size, diameter, type, everything we keep in our GIS. So to perform a new inspection, you're going to hit New Inspection. I'm going to go ahead and just fill out a test demo right here. Some of the fields that they're required to fill. And we'll go ahead and put test in here just to, I can delete it later. All right, and we're going to go ahead and submit this inspection record. And it's going to send it up. And then just a few seconds later, the map's going to refresh, and then the symbology is going to change. It'll disappear. Okay. And so we started, when we deployed the solution, the symbology did not change. So we were not able to track which valves had been maintained. You would have to click on each one individually and dial it down and try to figure out, have we maintain this valve? Have we exercised the valve? So we started with actually coloring them green. So we went with a symbolizing green based on the related table. And we found out that really cluttered the map. So we actually switched to showing them red as needing inspection, and then just making it disappear after the inspection is complete. So that way it's kind of, it disappears from the map. You start seeing less and less on the map. And you can kind of see right there the white valve. We still show all valves in the system, so crews still use this for reference if they need to get any more information. But just the red is how we show what needs inspection. All right, so here's some more information about that online map and how we set it up. So so we symbolize the inspection status by color, and like I said, it's the red color. It's a database view, SQL database view that joins the last inspection by date. We then publish that out as a read-only service, feature service. And we also created some additional virtual fields based on the date. And so with that little picture right there, you can kind of see that how old the inspection is, what month it was done. Those are all virtual fields that are from the related table. So here's some more information about the offline map. And so there's a little additional workflow in order to get the symbology to sync on the offline. We have the crews syncing multiple times a day. They'll sync in the morning, maybe at lunch, and then also at the end of the day. So we can support a fully disconnected workflow. The problem with the SQL view is you can't take it offline. So we use FME that syncs the SQL view to an ArcGIS Online hosted feature, and then we take that feature offline and we're able to sync. And then the FME just kind of keeps it up to date. And one of the other great things about this is operations dashboard. This has been used daily in all the workflows. All staff loves it. And so we've added this, changed this over time. So one of the first things over on the left is going to be the new valves found. And the crews can locate valves in the field that we don't even know about. So we're going to zoom in right here, click on one. So we kind of thought we had our whole system mapped, but in the past 90 days, the crews have found 16 valves, which we didn't even know about. So that will kick off a process for us to survey, locate it, do some research on it, look up the old plans, and then we can get it mapped into our GIS system. Another thing that valve maintenance had requested was new valves that we map. New subdivisions get put in that they're not aware of. They may have already done valve maintenance in an area, and then a new subdivision comes in. It's just a way to help communicate new valves to the crew that they would otherwise not even know about. Another part of the inspection form is needing maintenance. And so this is has the ability to start off a work order. On the inspection form, the crews can say, yes, this valve needs maintenance, and then we symbolize it here on the dashboard to kick off that work order process. On this dashboard, we also track just counts and amounts. We've got, they like to per month, per year, multiple tabs you can click on, kind of go through, see how they're doing compared to last year. And then also the big one is going to be that need inspection. They are very excited about drilling that down to 0. It's not long until they do. Like I said, it's going to be March. And the crews are almost competing in order to get that number down to 0. They check it every day, and like I said, they're excited to get that done. So I'm going to let Dallas kind of fill in about how he uses this each day.
Yes, with our operations dashboard, what I like to do is if we have new valves that we found, I like to, when we sync it in the evenings, I like to come in the following day, make sure that those are on the new valves found, as well as if we have valves that need maintenance, look at the areas in our water system that need to be completed, make sure everything is working the way it should be. That way, if not, I can get in touch with GIS as well as make sure valves that we do for that day are done and off the mapping system. If not, that number stays up, and we don't like that number to stay up. We're trying to complete our system so we can start over. It just helps us out to know where we're at and where we've been. And I'll pass it back off to Brandon.
All right. And so with that number going to be getting closer to 0, we're kind of evaluating our future plans. Once they've gone through the whole system, doesn't mean valve maintenance ends. They get to do it over again. And so at that time, we're going to reevaluate the form and the process. What worked, lessons learned. We really put it into production, made some minor tweaks, but really the math is pretty much the same. The form is the same. So we're going to reevaluate, maybe add some stuff and remove some stuff. One of the items we're probably going to do is the depth of valve, make that a required field. Since they're out there touching every valve, that may actually allow us to get 3D data on our GIS. It's going to be useful for water model, utility location, and visualization. Another thing we're going to do is develop a plan for high priority areas based on the historical data. We're going to get with the engineering staff and kind of look at where do we go first? What's the high priority areas needing valve maintenance? kind of better plan that. And then also, if you're not aware, there's a Aurora collector project currently in beta. I know it's coming off of beta soon, especially for iOS. We're pretty excited about that. That's going to really change things. Some of the things we're looking forward to are going to be the vector base maps. We're probably going to integrate like our entire water system into a base map. Should be able to sync easier all that data. Dynamic labeling, arcade expressions, and be able to set up offline areas. So just a few of the things coming to Collector Aurora. So it's a pretty neat little project. So, and then Dallas, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I'm very pleased with ESRI. It's been more efficient for our valve maintenance department for us to be out gathering data and not being out in the field gathering the data, as well as getting our jobs done. It saves us time and money than having to come back and forth to our office or our desktops looking up where we have and haven't been. So we're just very pleased with it and looking forward to the future and better things to come with Collector. It's been great, and I'll pass it back off to Brandon.
All right, thank you. Well, this completes our presentation.
Great, thank you both. As a reminder, please submit your questions using the question pane at any time during the live broadcast. Our next presenters are Brett Angel and TJ Hone. Brett is a GIS developer and database administrator for Sammamish Plateau Water and Sewer. TJ is an operations analyst for Sammamish Plateau Water and Sewer. Brett and TJ will be covering manhole inspections. Take it away. Brett and TJ, you might be on mute. We can't hear you.
Thank you. Apologies for that. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us. My name is Brett Angel, and I'm here with TJ Hone, and we're going to be discussing the path that we took to migrate from paper manhole inspections to GIS manhole inspections, and how we were able to save time and money for our district. I have been here with the district for about 10 years in the GIS capacity. We have ArcGIS Online and Portal set up, and we're using the local government information model.
Hi, my name is TJ Hone. I just want to say I'm operations analyst. I've been with the district for 10 years. I started in water operations and moved into my analyst position almost 3 years ago. So to start off, I want to just kind of tell you a little bit about where we're at. We're, according to the AWWA, small to mid-sized water and sewer utility. We're located about 19 miles east of Seattle. We sell 1.9 billion gallons of water annually, and our sewer system conveys that wastewater away. That translates to about 300 miles of water main and about 184 miles of sewer main, and in that sewer system we have 5,300 manholes.
So the path we took, we originally started off using paper, and the operations crew came to us looking for a better solution. Initially, we brought in a third-party application and utilized that. We had some issues with that, and then we landed on the ESRI solutions, which where we lie today, and the benefits that we see with that. Initially, the paper process, we used grids, map books. The operations would take those map books, go out in the field, fill out the forms, and then bring them back and put them in a stack of paper.
So if you can just imagine our old process being a pretty significant sized bookshelf full of giant 3-ring binders, full of cards pertaining to each manhole in our system. And then we utilized map books, like Brett said, to locate where we're going to do our work according to a map grid. And
as soon as we printed those out, they were out of date, and the crew wasn't happy with them. They'd go out, and we have so much development here at the district that within a month the map books will be out of date, and there just wasn't the details that we would need to see on there.
So filling out these paper cards and using paper maps, there was always like this kind of like this data disconnect. It was really hard to at a glance ascertain what was done the past month, the past 6 months, without having to go back through these books, verify that the cards were filled out, the assets were done. We didn't have a real easy way of like plotting these things on a map to know that they were done. We just kind of relied on operations saying, yep, we did them. Here's the time I spent doing it. If you want to go back through the books and look, go ahead. And we have a goal operationally to inspect every one of our manholes once every 6 years. So like I said, it was just really hard to gauge that. There wasn't really an easy way to track the program progress.
So the operations group came to us and they said, hey, we need something better. So we went out and we found a third-party application. And initially, it solved some of our concerns. We were able to have maps out in the field on mobile devices, and we were able to track what work was being done. But we took it a little too far and painted ourselves into a corner.
Yeah, as like Brett was saying, we introduced this third-party application on top of our existing CMMS system. So we have this great asset registry. We're able to track work orders against all these assets. But utilizing that CMMS system to get work done in the field was, it proved to be pretty problematic. We were just working off a list. We always had to have an internet connection. It was really clunky. There wasn't a way to route the manholes that you were inspecting. Along came this application that allowed us to work via a map. We knew which manholes we had to inspect. We no longer needed a routing tool to know that the next manhole on the list was the one that we were standing next to, that GPS function. So it was really a great tool. And like Brett said, we kind of overly customized it and required a lot of help to maintain.
Here at the district, the operations group is really involved with GIS, and we value their input just to get buy-in. But in this particular case, things became complicated and they weren't using it. They just revert back to old ways or just let it sit on the shelf with the constant maintenance, and it just became a burden on the entire staff. So I did what I do, and I looked into GIS and ESRI Solutions, and we landed on Collector and Operations Dashboard. I was tasked to find a solution for our manhole inspections that didn't cost more money, that didn't take more time, that the operations staff wanted. And Collector and Operations Dashboards were it. Because we're already utilizing Portal for ArcGIS, and we already had GIS in our district, it was already free and available to us. We already talked to other users at user conferences. We've already been inside and out the web maps, so we understood it. We had the existing infrastructure, and it was incredibly easy to implement. I believe our first manhole inspection took approximately an hour to set up, and that's not an exaggeration. Because we already used the local government information model, we had the fields we needed, we just rolled it out.
Yeah, we were already working in the field with a map, collecting data. Where we got really hung up was this really delicate sync process every morning and every evening that we were using. So this took probably an hour of my time every morning and a half hour to an hour every evening just to ensure that as the field, before they went out, the data was sunk. They had the work that they needed to do, and when they came back at the end of the day, that the data was pushed back to the CMMS system. And there were sometimes gaps in that communication if it didn't work. There could be a few days go by, guys didn't know what was going on, where they were supposed to be working, or I'd find out a month later that the data didn't push from their inspections. So this transition to using Collector just really streamlined that process. You know, they grab their phones, maps are built, They can just open up the map, and the map they are viewing has the manholes they're supposed to inspect. We just change that with a filter every time they're done with a certain basin or sub-basin. There's no confusion about what they need to be doing. It's easy to see where they left off because the manholes disappear. So if it's on the map, you need to inspect it. It's been really nice, and it's another process we have also. If an inspection map gets created and they're using Collector, we kind of make an operations dashboard in-house to track the progress of the program. Like I said, we want to hit every manhole once every 6 years. Having a dashboard that lets us view that has been pretty powerful and way more efficient than digging through books and trying to, get the data from a few different sources.
As TJ mentioned, the workflows just became more efficient. We saw a reduction of close to 8 hours a week for operations and administrative workflows. And that freed us up to do actual work that was valuable, not watching screen sync, not looking for data, not looking for John, who's on vacation, we need to locate information from.
Having all this asset information in one place now and the ability to visually represent the work getting done, I think we immediately saw value just in that process alone. Like I mentioned, we build dashboards with all of our inspection maps, which allow us to visualize what was done, what's intended to be done, which really looks good for us. We do an annual plan every year where water and sewer operations kind of call out what they intend to do for the year. And having these operations dashboards, you can get a real-time look of where their preventive maintenance programs are in relation to the work they're getting done. So all this info is in one place. It's no longer in a map book and in CMMS and in the manhole book, just to verify that the work's getting done.
And as mentioned before, it's incredibly easy to use. Operation loves it. Everyone has a mobile phone. Everyone understands how to use a mobile phone. As well as we were able to cancel some annual licensing on the legacy software and eliminate the need for consultants. As well as we've trained the supervisors and operations staff to set up the maps themselves. They manage the maps. They only come to GIS or IT when they have issues with their phone or connectivity. So this entire process has kind of shifted the way we work within collecting information and then setting up the workflows. So in summary, we're saving a ton of money and time using ESRI solutions. It's really made my job a lot easier. Instead of coming up with some customized application or developing something on my own, I know that I can go to the gallery and download a solution and implement it. Operations operates more efficiently. They're more focused on getting work done as opposed to make sure that the applications are working or that they have the technology they need. The managers and supervisors are making informed decisions. They know what work needs to be done. They know how to plan for the future. And as a GIS person, I feel like I'm providing valuable solutions that make a difference. Thank you. And we're done.
Fantastic. Thank you both. We'll now begin the Q&A portion of the webinar. Our first question is it very apparent that your staff has bought into the digital approach very heavily? What obstacles, if any, did you encounter in obtaining approval or getting your processes in order? And I think that's for both presenters.
This is
I can go ahead. So this is Brandon with Henry County Water. So initially we had actually done we did have a third-party tool that kind of brought map books in the field digitally. So it wasn't really inspections or anything like that. And so that kind of got us that digital start, and that was a tough transition because some crews loved it and some didn't. Some took them out in the field and some did not. But it at least introduced a lot of the crews to that technology, and to help that transition, a lot easier. But as far as the valve maintenance goes, like I said, they kind of came to us, so they were all in, and that really helped that process. So.
Yeah, this is Brett at Sammamish Plateau Water. We initially, the crew had seen these apps out in the field, talking to, I guess, other consultants, other districts and whatnot, and a couple of people had came to us asking about this. So it wasn't really a hard sell on our end. They'd already seen some of the technology that was available. I think for us, if there was a stumbling point, is that they are so involved and they're used to having the ability to customize applications. Initially, they didn't see the full functionality. They didn't understand the full functionality within the collector app, but once they realized the simple workflow of it, it was complete buy-in from our entire operations.
Great, thank you both. Our next question has to do for the first presenter on the hydrant locations. What is the accuracy of the hydrant locations? Have they been collected using GPS? And then in addition, how many staff use the hydrant solution? Was it difficult to train them?
Okay, so yeah, we have survey grade location on all our hydrants. We have an in-house survey equipment and staff. That was over the course of multiple years, actually going out and locating our entire water system. So yeah, we actually have great data. And like I said, that was put into place way before we launched some of these solutions. So yeah, good data is good to have. So but the way we inputted the data is not necessarily the way we use it now. We just use traditional workflows with Trimble handhelds. Kind of went into CAD and into GIS is how that initial import in GIS was the features. But now we actually use it multiple crews. Some of this data is used just for reference only in the field. Like I said, kind of those digital map books. But we do have multiple workflows. We're working on hydrant maintenance, hydrant flushing, and then of course like valve maintenance. They like to see the hydrants as well. So we have multiple staff using that data.
And it gets us within at least 5 feet, if not less, of the fire hydrant or valve where we're looking at. So it gets us real close to knowing in that particular area as well.
Yeah, and Dallas was talking about the GPS on the tablet. Yeah, it's not survey grade. So we use survey grade to locate them, and then we use the non-survey grade to kind of get us close. Yep.
Great, thanks, Brandon. Another question surrounding that. Have you considered using tablets with data and putting the map into the cloud? And that way, field staff could see real time to confirm this update. Why or why not?
Yes, we have, and so we're actually looking more into that now. And the reason why not is because it was so easy and so cheap. And so we launched ESRI. It was new to us. We didn't have a very well developed mobile program. This is what was all new to us. So in order to get stuff out cheap and easy, like I said, the tablets we deployed were between $50 and $100 a piece. Wi-Fi sync, and so that's it. We got a device out in the field offline, our full system out there. It was really cheap and easy. But going further down the road, we are looking more connected solutions. The coverage, cellular coverage, is better in our county now. We still have some pockets that are not fully covered, so that's why we kind of still maintain the both solutions.
Thanks, Brandon. Our next question is, does your electronic form include MACP mandatory fields for manhole condition assessment?
Not yet. We have it planned out. I'm not sure the exact date, but no, we do not currently use that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next question is, back to Henry County. How did Henry County satisfy security of data concerns? Did the edits happen directly to SDE or into the cloud, Arc Online?
So yeah, we're using SDE for our GIS data, and we've got that secured in-house, and it's very secure. It authenticates with our servers for the logins and all that.
Thanks. Back to Brett. With the time saved for manhole inspections, are there plans to migrate other paper-based processes to digital?
Yeah, we've actually migrated every asset inspection we have into the digital process that we described for manholes, valves, hydrants, mains. And this is off the top of my head, but I think we have 20 collector inspection apps set up currently.
We've even just recently moved over to doing all of our weekly and monthly water samples too. We're tracking that data now and have related information stored in GIS regarding sampling.
Yeah. So the process here is, this is Brett speaking. I set up the GIS, I get the services running, turn those out with collector. TJ works with the operations to set up the dashboard and configure collector. So we kind of have the process. Every inspection comes out with a collector map and a dashboard associated with it.
Great, thank you. Our next question is, are you exercising the large valves by closing it to the full? If so, what precautions do you take to avoid water hammer?
Actually, not at this time. We're not closing our valves completely all the way down. We usually turn them, depending on the size of the valve, anywhere from 10 to 15 turns, and we're doing that very slowly, maybe a turn and a half every 30 to 60 seconds, so that way we don't cause any water hammer or muddy water in our water system here.
Thank you. And another question on valves, our final question. At what frequency do you exercise all 23,000 valves? Yearly or every 3 years?
Right now, in our presentation, we've been doing valve maintenance for right at 9 years, and that started out as a 2-person crew, and now we've started with a 4-person crew. So in the past year, with having 4 people, we've exercised a little over 7,500 valves. So I'm hoping that it will go down. Instead of 9 years going on 10, I'm hoping that it'll go down to maybe 4 to 5 years that this gets done. And you got to think as well, we're adding new valves in our system yearly, so that's going to make our job go up, but hopefully we can get done quicker with having ESRI to save us time in the field instead of having to come back to the office and input stuff in the computer daily like we were having to do.
Great, thank you. Thanks again to our panel for those excellent presentations. This concludes our webinar on field operations, moving from paper to digital. But before we go, I want to thank you for joining the webinar today. Don't forget to participate in the survey immediately following the webinar. We look forward to seeing you at our upcoming events. Until next time, thank you for keeping the water safe and secure.